Hi, welcome to another edition of Chasing the Checkers, the USSA broadcast where we get a chance to speak to some of the most interesting personalities in ice oval racing. My name is Brett, and tonight I'm with John Henke. John drives the number 157 Skidoo, if you can't tell from his background, and has been in the champ division for a couple of years. So welcome, John.
How's it going, Brett?
It's going great. So it's always fun to do these kind of things. When I was doing the promo for your piece, I mentioned the word grassroots, and I've been thinking about that since I put it up there. And your team really feels to me like a family-grown, family-based team that's got a history of a smaller version of somebody trying to do something big. Is that kind of how you describe it? Is that what you think it looks like?
It's definitely the form that it takes. Started racing in 2003. Dad did. I started shortly thereafter. Nowadays, my stepmom, my sisters, they're in registration. My dad and myself are in the trailer. Back in the day, we had my grandpa in the trailer every weekend. We brought on some guys like John Collum and Harvey. We got some help from Danielle Bain. Lots of racing history with that family. Keeping it tight niched.
Yeah, good. And I think it suits you well. And I think for what you're doing, it works well. So tell everybody out there that watches these, what's your race day like for you? Is there nervous energy? Do you have a routine? Do you have the same breakfast every time? Do you stretch? What's race day look like for you?
I wish I could say I eat breakfast, but more often than not, the most important part is getting to sleep. It's hard to come down from a race day kind of excited. You're thinking about the next day, but turning it in early. I'm usually up just as early, and we're at the track. It's dark. Guys are still getting set up, but try to have my cup of coffee and get something down the hatch, because eating does make a difference if you can get it in.
Sure. Do you find like you have any sort of routine, maybe 15 minutes before you go to the hot pits or 30 minutes before the race starts, or is there any point in time where you get into a routine?
It depends on the race day. I think more often than not, nobody really wants to be around me.
You've always been nice to me.
Yeah. 10, 15 minutes before a race, I need silence. I need people to, not be talking too much or too much people in the trailer. We try to, clear out the trailer besides, me, Dad, the core crew, and just kind of think things through, make sure that, we made all the adjustments that we want going forward, and head out and hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a specific moment where you personally turn into race mode? Because sometimes I can walk through the hot pit area and see you guys out there getting ready, and you're grinning and you're chuckling, but I sense there's something different. So is it in the pit area? Is it when you actually get on the track? Is it at the line before the green flag?
It's pretty much once we leave for the track. During the pit, you try to stay loose. You want to keep moving around. You don't want to tense up. And once you're out moving around the ice, getting called up to the line, it's about the time you start to hit your zen.
Yeah, good term. Do you talk to yourself when you're racing?
A little bit. It depends on the situation. More often than not really.
No. It's all reactionary.
We're focusing on breathing and turning left.
That would be good.
Counting my laps. I'll count my laps in my head.
Okay. Have you always been on a Skidoo?
No. Originally, we started out on some Arctic Cats. Dad was on a Stocker 440, had a Sportsman 600. I was on a 380 Stocker, then a 380 Sprint, then a Junior 2 Sprint. I was on an F500 for a while. John Collum ended up building me a limited 500. Had a pretty good season with that. Got to race alongside my dad. We were racing Skidoo there, and kind of stuck with Skidoo from there on out. It's a good powerhouse, great guys to work with. We're with Factory now the last couple of years, and like I said, they're just awesome to reach out to, and they're always there for us, which is awesome.
That's great news. It's good to have that support in your back pocket. So leads me to my final kind of racing question. It seems like manufacturers tend to go in waves of success. For a number of years with Chartier and Potter and stuff, there's a lot of Skidoo riding up front all the time. Everybody's talking about trying to get some blue on the podium. Now you see Stevenson and Olson's done pretty well in a Skidoo, and Nick Van Stradon's been strong. So what do you think leads to that?
A lot of it's coming down to the team, maintenance and staying ahead of the curve, finding that next ingenuitive idea. Chartiers and Houle have always been, one of the best at that, going into Stern and Forth. Wallace come out with, new things for their sleds, and, things like that make a big difference. With the way rule packages now, it's a lot more even. I think that, as long as your program is correct and you're throwing the right stuff at it and tuning it correctly, it can be really fair.
Yeah, good. It takes a lot of wheels to make this whole thing go around. And I know at your shop, it's no different. So tell everybody out there who helps you make this thing run.
Starting at the top, Center Point Marine in Stevens Point, Skidoo, Castle X, Dayco Belts, Woody's Traction, Moto Tassinari with V-Force, XPS Lubricants and Oil, TJ Patrick Custom Carbon, Tom Luce Photography, Cousins Custom Body and Paint, US Chrome. I think that's all of them.
Well, it's a good list. I mean, it's important to have the sponsorship out there to help you make this thing happen, because it's a lot of fun, but it's not cheap. Let's just be honest about it.
Being a grassroots team, every little bit of support does make the world of difference. I don't know if I would be able to compete without one of those sponsors.
Sure, understood. That's great. You offered up a nice weekend pass to 2 weekend passes to the Wausau 525, along with the Castle X hat for us. And I asked you earlier in the day to be sure you pull the winner. So why don't you share with us who that is?
The winner is David Fisher. David Fisher is the winner. No.
Great. So David, if you can, send us a private message and we'll get that over to John and we'll have him take care of that information for you. All right, you ready for a couple of fun things here before we wrap it up?
Sure try.
All right. I know you fish a lot, right?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. I fish a lot too. And one thing I know about fishermen is they don't tell the truth very often. So tell me which of your fellow competitors you feel like you can get the best information from at the racetrack.
Ooh. That's a tough one. Nobody wants to tell me nothing. Sometimes if you ask the right question, you can get a yes or no out of Gunner.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Who in today's world is the biggest prankster around the pit area? Because I know some stuff happens.
That's a tough one. I'd have to go with maybe that MPH crew. I don't know about the drivers, but those guys on that crew can cause some trouble.
That's true there. That's really true. All right, here's a couple for you, racing related. What's more important to you, clutch setup or horsepower?
Clutch setup.
Okay. What's more important to you, studs or front suspension?
Personally, studs, but it makes it. They're both really important.
Okay.
But I play with the studs a lot.
So out of those four, clutching, horsepower, studs, and front suspension, if you could have a trade secret nobody else had, which area would you like it in?
Traction.
Okay.
Traction. So between the front end and studs.
Well, that's okay. And here's the final easy one. If you could put one member other than your dad of your crew on a sled for one race, which one gives you the best chance to win?
Probably one of my sisters.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. You want to name one? You're just going to go with one of them.
I'd maybe Ashley. Miranda wouldn't agree, but probably Ashley. they know how to hit their marks. They're good at ovals. They race karts for a number of years, and they're good.
All right. At this. I've been asking all the drivers that I talked to if they could share one tip with the next generation of racers coming up that we may feel is overlooked, or that maybe there's not enough work put into it, or something they really need to concentrate on to try and get themselves to the next level. What do you think a tip is for kids moving forward?
Nutting and bolting. Figure out what wrenches your sled takes and pick them up whenever you're bored. You know, it's making sure that everything's tight, moving as it should be, learning your machine, really. So that way you know what's wrong when it is wrong.
Right. Yeah, that's very similar to what Matt Gady said, is that he really thinks that the next racers coming up need to work on machines, not just show up and ride them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, good. Hopefully the season comes off here. We'll be in Eagle River in a couple weeks for the World Championship. You fared pretty well there last year, so I know you got to be looking forward to getting back with some anticipation and some high hopes, right?
Yeah, we're excited for a little redemption. We had an okay showing for the Friday Night Thunder show. We got some pretty good lines we thought we figured out at the end of the season, so we're going to give her.
Good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you there, and hopefully you have a safe season, a fast season, and I'd love to see you on the podium here a couple times this year coming up.
Appreciate it.
So, great time. Oh, one last question. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup or Snickers?
When you first started asking that question, I wouldn't have said this, but nowadays, not because of you, but because I like them. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Yeah, fresh or frozen? That's the next question.
Oh, I like them